For this question, okay, what you want to do is to solve the inequality for which x squared minus 4x is less than equals to 0. It means that you are trying to find the x values that fulfill this inequality. Now, to go about doing this, remember that there are always 4 steps that you must do. Okay, so the first step is to make right hand side 0. The second step is to ensure that your coefficient of x squared is positive. And the third step is for you to find the x-intercepts, okay, either by factorization or solving the quadratic equation itself. And the fourth step is finally to sketch the curve. Now, in order for us to solve this equation, you know that this basically requires you to observe the graph of y equals to x squared minus 4x. Okay, so but before that, let's check. Okay, so step number 1, condition number 1 is the right hand side 0. Yes. Condition number 2 is the coefficient of x squared positive. Yes. Now, condition number 3, okay, we want to find the x-intercepts. Okay, so if you look at the x-intercepts, having x squared minus 4x equals to 0, right, this will involve you solving it by factorization, which is x minus 4 equals to 0, and you have x equals to 0 and x equals to 4. Now, do take note that you do not show this to us, right? Okay, so of course, what you need to do is to write down the factorized form. Now, if you show the factorization, now it doesn't mean that when you solve all quadratic inequality, please do not misunderstand that you can always factorize it all the time. You know, there may be times where you are required to find the x-intercepts using completing the square using a quadratic formula. Now this is a very nice quadratic expression. We can factorize it. Right, now we have not affected the inequality sign, so we're going to keep it at less than or equals to 0. So the next step, what we want to do, right, is to sketch the curve. Now, what curve are we sketching? Now, if you look at this, right, it means that we are sketching y equals to x bracket x minus 4. And if we're looking at y equals to x minus 4, and we are solving x minus 4 less than or equals to 0, if we try to connect the first to the last term, it means that we try to find the range of x values that make y equals to x minus 4 less than or equals to 0. Okay, it means that we're trying to find the x values that makes x minus 4 less than or equals to 0. Okay, or it also means that you're trying to see the region of x that makes your y less than or equals to 0, since we're talking about y less than or equals to 0. Okay, so from here, okay, we sketch out the curve and see that it, because it's happy face, the coefficient x squared is positive, right? And where our x-intercepts, you can see that here, if you equate these two, right, if you just look at x, which I did just now, the x-intercepts are basically x equals to 0 or x equals to 4. So I come to my curve and I write down the two intercepts, 0 and 4. Now, these two intercepts are very critical. All right, so from here, if you look at where the region where your graph is less than or equals to 0, how do you look? Is you look at the y values, right? You look at the region where y is negative. Now, where's the region where y is negative? You can see that it's basically underneath the x-axis. Now, this is the portion of the graph where all the y values will be negative because it's underneath the x-axis. Okay, so here we are looking at negative and equal to 0. It means that you can see we include the two endpoints, and the answers that you're looking at are basically the corresponding x values that give you the inequality. Okay, the corresponding x values that makes find the range of x values, the corresponding x values that makes your graph less than equals to 0, which means making the y less than equals to 0. Now you can see that this is the region where your y is less than equals to 0 here. And what's the corresponding x values? The corresponding x values that makes your y less than equals to 0 is x between 0 and 4. Okay, it's between 0 and 4, this region over here. X between 0 less than equals to 4 and more than equals to 0. Okay, so I hope you are able to translate the graph into your answer, and you're able to read the graph and decipher for yourself what is